So what was the question again? Oh, why is it called the traffic jam? Well, you know, the reason is, it's because I have two really cool cars. Seriously cool cars. And I love drifting, racing, because I am fast and slick. And plus, I like to create a bit of traffic jam myself with a whole lot of great music. Bulunaka, my name is Real, your host and DJ, right here on the Today FM Traffic Jam, every weekday from 3 p.m. to 7. Right here on Today FM, today's hit music.
In this bulletin, heavy rain warning issued for Fiji as tropical cyclone Pam slowly moves closer. People warned against crossing flooded rivers and streams. And Fiji TV shareholders pass a resolution to split Sky Pacific services. Good evening, I'm Jackie Spate and this is FBC News. Severe tropical cyclone Pam was upgraded to a Category 3 storm at midnight and is likely to further intensify into a Category 4 hurricane in the next 2 days. However, the Nandi Weather Office says it still poses no direct threat to Fiji, but has enforced a heavy rain and strong wind warning with the possibility of floods. Christopher Chand reports.
Although Fiji is likely to be spared from the full brunt of Cyclone Pam, there is a warning for possible floods due to heavy rain in relation to the Category 3 cyclone.
With the heavy rain, there is always a high possibility of flooding. With the amount of rain that is able to dump over the course of the next 24 to even 48 hours, there is a high chance of flooding occur.
A heavy rain and strong wind warning has been issued today. The public is being advised to take precaution.
To be on the alert and also to be aware that Tropical Cyclone Pam is just northwest of us, and on the projected path, one is that the strong wind warning is likely to extend to the rest of the Fiji group with a heavy rain as well, and at the same time as well people who are living in low-lying areas to take the precautionary measures.
Quite often we see cyclones that form in this area move over Fiji, but in this particular case we're just blessed it's going to stay away from us. It's going to be a very bad storm.
Tropical Cyclone Pam is growing stronger, but moving very slowly. Some weather experts say it could turn into a super cyclone.
Physically a very big cyclone. It actually covers a large area, so that's one thing. It's a strong cyclone and it's going to get stronger, and it could potentially be one of the strongest we've seen in our region.
On its current track, Cyclone Pam will pass between Fiji and Vanuatu by tomorrow. A second storm, Cyclone Nathan, has formed near Queensland, but at this stage it's not going to affect the country. Christopher Chand, FBC News.
In a directive from Police Commissioner Ben Huneveld, all divisional police command centres have been directed to operate on a 24-hour basis. This is a precautionary measure with Tropical Cyclone Pam edging closer to the Fiji group. Ellen Stahls reports.
All police officers are now on standby and ready to help when and if needed.
Our operations, of course, will be guided by the National Disaster Management Office, where we have a senior officer who is a liaison officer for the organization. So this is the stand, and all our police officers are on standby when the need arises to deploy them, especially for the operations as the impending weather situation that the country is facing at the moment.
Today, council workers were seen cutting off branches of trees that were in the way of power lines, part of measures taken by the council to ensure the safety of the public.
Requesting people to ensure that their safety is always prioritized above everything else. We need everybody's assistance if we are to ensure that no lives are lost or even anybody gets injured. So at the end of the day, we will continue to issue these advisories, but the onus is on every individual to comply.
Parents are advised to carefully assess the weather and make informed decisions regarding the movement of children, as situations may differ in various parts of the country. The National Disaster Management Office is also advising people living in flood-prone areas to move to higher ground now, with the heavy rain alert now in force for Fiji. On the other hand, health facilities are stocking up on basic medicine and consumables as the ministry is monitoring the situation. Health staff, where necessary, will be on standby to provide emergency services. Ellen Stalls, FBC News.
The Education Ministry is advising parents to use their discretion in deciding whether to send children to school from tomorrow. Minister Dr. Mahendra Reddy says an emergency operations centre has been activated with 9 district officers alerted to monitor their respective areas. A meeting was held today with stakeholders and donors to finalise and coordinate emergency relief supplies if need be.
Today classes will continue, but what we are advising the parents is that the impact of the disaster will not be same throughout the country. So they may take decisions on their own to keep the children at home. That's perfectly fine with us as we get out of this shock phase.
Principals have been told to secure school property. The public is urged to avoid crossing flooded rivers, driving through flooded waters, as well as walking or playing near floodwaters. A major cause of deaths during floods and cyclones is people not adhering to flood warnings. Eleanor Tarangaivu reports.
Floodwaters often appear deeper and fast-flowing than they look and are often full of debris. During floods and cyclones, people often have a tendency to go against warnings by swimming, crossing and playing in flooded areas.
Well, floodwaters by their nature are brown, so you can't see the bottom. So how can you estimate the depth? And of course, you don't know how much rain's going to come. That's what the weather is. It has its own mind. So it could be 3 foot of water and flowing in a manageable way. It could be 10 foot of water and no one can cross that.
The Water Safety Council says entering floodwaters often leads to accidents, which sometimes are fatal.
Statistically, 77% of drownings are in the cyclone season. That's now. And so this warning is timely. We've had 5 people drown confirmed already this year, shortly to rise by a couple of people pending postmortems, but they're all following that trend.
With Tropical Cyclone Pam moving closer to Fiji, this is exactly the kind of precaution the Water Safety Council of Fiji wishes you to take. If you're in a vulnerable area, wear a life jacket. It could save lives.
Take the warning seriously. The police and the national disaster people have put warnings out, and they're not doing that for fun or just for the sake of it. Take those warnings seriously.
According to Philip, more lives can be saved if people knew basic life-saving skills like CPR. Of the 5 drowning deaths so far this year, CPR was attempted in only 1 case. Eleanor Tarangaivu, FBC News.
Fiji Airways has made changes to its flights to Vanuatu later this week due to Tropical Cyclone Pam. The Nadi Port Vila return service on Friday has been cancelled. The airline says affected passengers will be booked on a supplementary service on Monday. Fiji Airways will continue to monitor the weather situation, assess its impact on operations and advise of changes to schedules. Fiji Television shareholders have agreed to split the company's TV station and pay TV services. During an extraordinary general meeting yesterday, they passed a resolution both to run as separate entities. Edwin Nund reports.
Sky Pacific will run as its own licensed company from July.
We need to do a little bit more work with regard to tax and restructuring, sort of a little bit of due diligence. Why we want to do that is because right now Sky is using Fiji One just as an anchor channel. But going forward, Sky has to pay for anchor channel.
Nuzab Farid says they're in talks with potential partners for pay TV services. Fiji TV won't have any operational involvement with Sky Pacific.
Even the content providers are asking twice. No, we want to sign a 3-year agreement and give 25 channels. But that is not possible right now. With the new entity, it's possible. Definitely we are looking at some strategic partners. We are in touch with them. So things might change.
Fijian Holdings is adamant this is the right move for the media company. Fiji One will focus on local programming and news, while Sky Pacific will build a premium service for premium dollar.
Fiji Television Limited owns 100% of Sky. And if a partner is coming for that one, it can be a strategic alliance, or if we really want to be a partner of equity, definitely we don't mind sharing 25-30% of that.
While Farid isn't ready to spill the beans on who the potential partners are for Sky Pacific, He's indicated that it would be an entity with some experience in the media business.
Television companies are part of a media empire, so not just part of an investment company like us. So we don't have much synergy with Fiji Television.
Fijian Holdings Limited has confirmed that no internal changes are likely within Fiji TV and Sky Pacific at this stage. Edwin Nund, FBC News.
Still to come, roadworks in Asinu progressing well.
Bula FM nang banduan na sera ni wasiningaw na ni batara ni sibiti ko bekenda na diwa en na tini na miniti na may pakuriti ora beng grabe na nonton nonongo kanda na dabati ko ani no na kaloko en ay kamen din deba bili na tay bali ni may dabati ko na wani matakabo tan lib sarti ko na bisera tali oni na namaka do batati ko may kina na kenan daw ro di kanamaki Bula binaka Ayo salami lawa do bataki ya wana batara ne wani dio na kaloko moni tiki na barumbuka en Bula FM nang bandua en sera
My name is Luca. I live on the second floor.
Gold FM, only the classic hits. I hope you're having fun so far. You're listening to The Ride, and I'm Kara, taking you through your afternoon. Stay with me to listen to more awesome classics right here on The Ride. Bulabinaka, for awesome sounds in the afternoon. Wonderful, wonderful classics. Join me on The Ride every weekday right here on Gold FM, only the classic hits from 2 to 7.
Just don't ask me what it was. I think it's 'cause
Welcome back. This is FBC News. The construction of the four-lane road between McCoy and the Omkar Road junction in Asinu is expected to be completed in September. The Fiji Roads Authority is working together with China Railway First to minimise the effects of construction on the traffic during peak hours. Savara Tambor has the story.
The first stage of the construction will be completed next week and will see the sealing of the three-lane road. The second stage will be finalised at the end of next month. The FRA is advising motorists to be patient as the contractor China Railway First is trying its best to ensure the construction is carried out on time.
Along that whole stretch of, which is effectively 700 metres of existing three-lane, which will all get upgraded and widened to a fourth lane. You will ultimately have, when that section is complete, 2 lanes in each direction. At this point in time, the contractor is trying to keep the road open and minimising disruption.
Motorists travelling on the Suva-Nosori corridor can expect delays because of the traffic jam during peak travel hours in the morning and in the afternoon. This is more so during the working week.
FRA is also advising motorists to expect different travelling arrangements in the next few months.
Some mornings, the lane that you were using has been closed, and you're now using it in a different part of the corridor, and understand that those traffic management will be shifting and moving along as contractor completes the work.
Project is one of the major developments to road infrastructure being carried out by the government. Sabera Tambua, FBC News.
The government is reviewing the Essential National Industries Decree introduced 4 years ago. The decree protects industries vital to the national interest from industrial disruption. Employer and employee groups that fall under the provisions of the decree have held talks with the Attorney General Said Qayyum and Employment Minister Chiochi Konrote. The parties shared their experiences under the decree and agreed to meet again within 3 weeks. In the meantime, they will prepare formal submissions that the government would consider during the review process. Said Qayyum says following the second meeting and when they receive those submissions, there may be scope to expand the membership of the consultative process. Any proposed amendments to the law will be submitted to Cabinet for consideration and eventually be introduced in Parliament. Police are requesting information on the whereabouts of 14-year-old Jane Osborne of Lami, whose father reported her missing on Sunday. Jane, who is of slim build and has short brownish-black hair, was last seen wearing a black vest and a pink striped skirt. She went with a cousin to watch the Mara Sevens on Friday without her parents' knowledge. Anyone with information on the whereabouts of Jane Osborne is requested to call the Lami police station. 20 years have passed since Fiji ratified the convention to eliminate all forms of violence against women. Speaking during the 59th session of the Commission on the Status for Women in New York yesterday, Minister for Women Rosie Akbar highlighted the government's commitment to achieving the targets set for empowering women and girls. Shireen Lata reports.
Minister Rosie Akbar says Fiji National Women's Plan of Action has progressed and the ministry continues to pursue true and substantive gender equality. She says at the national political level, the government is committed to pursuing gender equality through the integration and mainstreaming of gender issues across all sectors of national life under reformed policy instruments consistent with CEDAW. Fiji's first national gender policy of 2014 is a government commitment to achieving these targets. Akbar says the budgetary allocation to the Ministry for Women has increased over by 560% since 2004, and there is now an annual voluntary contribution from government of $10,000 towards the work of the UN Women in the region. Significant government investment in infrastructure has directly improved rural women's access to services such as health, education, legal aid centers, financial institutions, markets and utilities. Akbar also says combating violence against women is now widely accepted on the national agenda item as a result of a strong government-NGO partnership. Fiji's rape laws have also been reformed and are now based on Australian law, which widens the definition of rape. Pregnant women in rural areas are encouraged to register at antenatal clinics in order to benefit from government-sponsored food vouchers. Social welfare initiatives and state assistance are now gender-responsive. Meanwhile, women's role in adapting to climate change and mitigation practices is steadily gaining recognition within government programs. Shireen Lata, FBC News.
Sports is up next. Here's Jamie with the latest.
Good evening. Coming up in sports, indiscipline proves costly for Telecom Fiji Warriors and tough competition anticipated for this weekend's Netball Super League. This and more after the break.
छू 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 हे हे नमस्ते फीजी, आपके हर एक प्रॉब्लम की दवा लेकर मैं आ गई हूँ 9 से 12 बजे तक आपकी सहेली रेनू। छू 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 40 में 20 का दिखना है। मैं हूँ ना आपके साथ में मिर्ची एफएम पर 9 से 12 बजे तक मंडे टू फ्राइडे। मिर्ची इट्स हॉट।
Ni sa bulu bina kana turna na kini marama ni bulu bina kana dhoru bau kini mone lewa. Ni sa bulu bina kana mone. Ena ko talem na ngona ni wawe katalau ena mataka ena nai.
Ena vendela na mai nei tasiri.
No bulu maleka go ni milote nai solo taboa.
Ena lomo ni bonua mai sianganga.
Ni bulu ni go Samuel. Na nota ngona ni wawe katalau ena radio Fiji wan nandomo vitina vonga ni vena. Mai no kini diwa ena bi mataka moni tikina pagluka. Ni kai namaka.
The Telecom Fiji Warriors lost their opening match in the World Rugby Pacific Challenge against the Argentina Panthers last night. The visitors posted a 22-20 victory at NZ Stadium in a high-tempered match, where the Warriors lost 3 players to the sin bin. Tsale Ndaudakadaka reports.
The Telecom Fiji Warriors got off to a flying start in the match against the Argentina Panthers. Blindside flanker Aminiasi Navar scored the opening try, with fullback Isor Donaldson kicking 2 penalties. The Pampers head back with a try to hulking winger Manueli Montero as Fiji went into halftime with a 13-7 lead.
Just our continuity. I think we just went a few phases and we lost the ball. We turned the ball, just aimless kicking, just giving them the ball back. I think we work on it on Saturday, on the week, and hopefully we improve it on Saturday.
Tempers flared in the second half and skipper Nemani Nangusa was yellow-carded, while halfback Samu Langai was flashed a red card for throwing punches. The Pampers took advantage to score 2 easy tries. Skipper Thomas Kubeli says their opening performance was not up to par.
A lot of things to work on. We were not sharp with the ball. A lot of knock-ons and handling errors. Our attitude was not the correct. We need another attitude when we play for the Argentinian jersey.
Donaldson grabbed the consolation try on the stroke of full time. The Warriors will need to lift their performance before they tackle Junior Japan on Saturday. Talent Odakadak, FBC Sports.
With all the attention on the Pacific Rugby Challenge, the Fiji Rugby Union is looking at hosting a couple of warm-up games for the Vodafone Flying Fijians in preparation for the World Cup. Fiji Rugby CEO Ranrondro Tambolevu says they are working on plans to secure at least 2 warm-up games on home turf before they take on the best in the world in September. Talent Odakadak has more.
5 months remain until the Rugby World Cup kicks off in England. The Vodafone Flying Fijians will be rounding up its Pacific Nations Cup campaign in Canada in early August. Rugby House is holding talks with other unions in securing 2 warm-up games for the team when they return from the PNC.
We were talking with some international teams to be able to have some warm-up games for the tournament. One is Canada, but that's probably going to be in England rather than here. But we are hoping to line up 1 or 2 games here before we depart.
Apart from giving the players a good hit-out, FRU wants to give local fans a glimpse of the team that will feature in the World Cup.
This is a warm-up and also to showcase the team to the Fiji supporters of the Fiji Rugby Union members before we go off to England.
The team will need all the preparation it can get to survive in the so-called pool of death against Australia, England, Wales and Uruguay. Talent Odakadak, FBC Sports.
Tough competition is expected when the Digicel Punjas Netball Super League starts this weekend. The ranking tournament took place last week and close results were recorded in all matches. Netball Fiji believes after last week's ranking tournament, no team can be taken lightly.
It's going to be an exciting tournament. What we saw from the ranking tournament last weekend was that the points margin for most of the games were not it was close. So we're expecting the games to become better, especially with the venue being the Vodafone Arena and the fact that it's being played indoors on international courts. So we expect the results to be better, and we also expect a higher level of netball being played out in the arena.
The first round of matches will be played at the Vodafone Arena in Suva this Saturday. The Nandi Jet Runners Club organised fun run will be held this Saturday in Nandi. The event is organised for people with special needs, but the general public will also be allowed to participate. This will present a good opportunity for students preparing for upcoming competitions to test their fitness levels.
There will be a 4-kilometer fun run which will start from McDonald's Nandi 10 at Wailuala Beach and finish at McDonald's Nandi again. And the chief guest for the day will be Minister for Youth and Sports, and I would like to thank him for accepting our invitation for the run. And there is most likely that secondary school athletes from Nandi and Lotoka area will be using this run to build up for the Nandi zone, Lotoka zone and Coca-Cola games.
The Minister for Youth and Sports, Laisenia Tuitumbo, will be the chief guest at the event. You can catch the highlights of that match from 10 tonight on FBC TV, and tomorrow at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. we will have the highlights of the Sri Lanka versus Scotland game. That is your sports for tonight. Good evening.
For the second year in a row, Pure Fiji has won at the New Zealand Best in Beauty Awards. The award ceremony was hosted in Auckland last month. The company was nominated in 5 different categories alongside some of the world's best brands and walked away with 2 awards: Best Body Oil, Coconut Milk and Honey Nourishing Exotic Oil, and Best Body Scrub Exfoliator, Coconut Sugar Rub. Pure Fiji also won 2 awards last year. Cloudy conditions were experienced over the country today. Severe tropical cyclone Pam Category 3 was analyzed near 11.1 south, 169.5 east. It was 1,130 kilometers northwest of Nadi at 3 p.m. today and moving southwest at 8 kilometers an hour. Associated cloud and rain affect the Solomons, Nauru, Western Kiribati, Tuvalu, Rotuma, Tokelau and Northern Cooks. Temperatures across the group were in the 30s today. Tomorrow's forecast is for rain and thunderstorms over most places. Further outlook, periods of rain, heavy at times, and squally thunderstorms over most parts of the group. Northerly winds with average speeds of up to 45 to 55 kilometers an hour, gusting to 65 kilometers an hour. Northerly winds 20 to 30 knots, gusting to 40 knots. Rough seas, moderate southerly swells. The marine weather forecast, a strong wind warning remains in force for northern Vanua Levu, northern Lao, Yasawa, and Mamanuca waters. For northern Vanua Levu, northern Lao, Yasawa, and Mamanuca waters, northerly winds 15 to 20 knots, increasing to 30 knots from later today. Rough seas, moderate westerly swells, poor visibility in areas of heavy rain and thunderstorms. Further outlook, northerly winds 20 to 30 knots, gusting to 40 knots, rough to very rough seas, moderate westerly swells. For the rest of the Fiji waters, northerly winds 15 to 20 knots, rough seas, moderate southerly swells, poor visibility in areas of heavy rain and thunderstorms. The main points again. Severe tropical cyclone Pam was upgraded to a Category 3 storm at midnight and is likely to further intensify into a Category 4 hurricane in the next 2 days. All divisional police command centres have been directed to operate on a 24-hour basis, and the Education Ministry has activated emergency operations centres with 9 district officers and alerted staff to monitor schools in their respective areas. This week's poll question we're asking, should Piatuai play for Fiji in the Hong Kong Sevens? Visit our FBC website to take part. Remember, you can send us newsworthy pictures and videos on email citizenseyes@fbc.com.fj or share it with us via Facebook page FBC News. And if you're on Twitter, follow and tweet us your news tips at FBC_news or simply hashtag FBC News. And that's our bulletin today. Join the team again at this same time tomorrow. Stay safe. Ni modamanta.
घर संसार में आपका स्वागत है। आपका अपना छोटा सा स्वर, जहाँ प्यार भरे रिश्ते पलते हैं, जहाँ हेल्थी रहने की सलाह दी जाती है, जहाँ हम आपको और भी सुंदर बनाते हैं और जहाँ स्वाद की सौगात भी है। नमस्कार, मैं हूँ पल्लवी। सोमवार से शुक्रवार 9 से 12 तक रेडियो फिजी 2 देश की धड़कन पर घर संसार में शामिल रहिए मेरे साथ।
ऐसा सुंदर सपना अपना